Check the mic and make sure it sound right.
Hi, I'm DKWILL, and this is DK. We'll talk about it. Recently, I did a video. It said, "Will XRP shake out or blow out?" Now, given developments that were occurring, one would thought it would have blown out. Like I said in my prior video, it kind of faked me out too, and that was this video here. Don't get burned by the XRP churn, and that's what's been happening because the XRP price has gone down to $2. Buying opportunity, folks, at any level, at any level. I'm going to say what I said often to some of the people in my conference groups. Don't jump over dollar bills to pick up pennies. In other words, $2 is a nice price, and so is $1.95. Now, you don't know if it's going to make it to $1.95 or $1.75. You really don't know. We don't know. But when it finally does do what XRP should do, you're not going to care about the 5 cents, and you're not even going to care about the quarter. In other words, if it jumps to $33, are you going to care if you spend $1.75 or $2? Are you going to care? Only if you're greedy. Because the point is to get it. Because amongst my videos was another video, XRP withdrawals halted. And then I had one, XRP get it while it's hot, or you just might not. Now, there's some developments that we're going to talk about in this video that will contribute to that line of thought. And this is an April 9th video where it talks about XRP network activity hits all-time high despite market volatility. It questions whether that's a bullish signal. Well, in my prior videos, I've made it pretty clear that these are head fakes to get people to come in and discourage you and bail out, and then you leave your liquidity behind. Money doesn't just disappear. So you put in $1,000, you get scared at $700, you sell out, your $300 is left behind. It's going to go somewhere. That's why you keep your gorilla grip. But you have to wonder if the XRP network activity is hitting an all-time high, why aren't the prices reflecting it? Even more so, this article here from April, a week later, XRP burns surge 100%. Here's what caused it. Well, we know what caused it. Increased network activity caused it. And when you look over this article, it says XRP has recently experienced a sharp rise in And if you like the content I'm providing, please make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications, and then come back for more DK Will Talk About It. XRP has recently experienced a sharp rise in network activity. In a single day, over 4,600 XRP were destroyed, which is twice as much as the average amounts observed earlier this month. And the reason for that is XRP is an appreciating asset. They're not going to make more. And so as it gets used, it burns a portion of it, a 0.0001, maybe 0.00001. I don't know how many zeros before the one. There's 4 or 5 zeros before the one, or the 2, depending on the money. But that's what's happening to the XRP supply. So if the XRP is on the supply, at this point in June 15th article, on the verge of 14 million milestone, and it actually hit that milestone of 14 million tokens burned as network activity surges. So how can we view that surge? As mentioned, it's a deflationary asset. It says XRP Ledger just smashed through a major deflationary milestone, burning over 14 million tokens, the highest in the crypto's entire history. While XRP is still trading at 213, this network achievement comes at a time when whale activity, prior video, is heating up and profit taking is creating some interesting market dynamics. So here's the point I'm making of all of this information, and there's a little bit more to follow. Is that if XRP is such a critical component of the XRPL ledger, as the XRP ledger, and they're losing $14 million of tokens already, 14 million, not dollars, what do you think they have to do to protect it? They're not going to watch XRP burn away like this and lose the entire system's sustainability by burning it away while it's cheap. So just do the math. If it takes 14 million XRP at the current network activity, and the network activity continues to surge, let's say it surges 10 times what it is now, and that's not unheard of. Then all of a sudden, it's 140 million XRP, unless this changes. Because if this goes 10 times, it remains 14 million tokens burned over so far of this timeline, this time history. But since it's an exponential growth, this might have to go 100 times or even 1,000 times to push this decimal point forward to the left and make it 140,000 XRP were burned or 14,000 XRP were burned to sustain the life cycle of the XRP ledger. And this writer understood that aspect of it all, because he went on to say, here's what makes XRP different from other cryptos. Instead of relying on those typical halving events or supply caps, XRP burns a tiny bit of tokens with every single transaction. It's actually pretty clever. This setup keeps spam off the network while slowly chipping away at the total supply. Over time, this could create serious upward pressure on price as more people use the network. So we're not going to cover the whale story I see down here, because that's not the point of this video. And to keep them short, we're going to stick with this topic. So do we see where we're heading with this increased activity on the XRP ledger? It says it's demonstrating significant growth in terms of usage. It's going to be exponential growth, like I've mentioned before in another one of my videos. Where is it at? I know it right here. This one here, exponential growth a month ago. And yes, it's going to be exponential growth, meaning it's going to the power of, and the price has to keep up, or we'll burn all the XRP away while piddling around before the system really gets up and gets moving and cooking with gas. It says here, XRP Ledger has recently demonstrated significant growth, both in terms of usage and important stakeholders, with the number of interacting XRP addresses averaging over 295,000 per day. 295,000 addresses per day interacting with the network, compared to a usual daily average of 35,000 to 40,000. So in other words, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, people. It says, for the first time in the asset's nearly 12-year history, there are now over 2,700 whale and shark wallets holding at least 1 million, XRP. So can you see what that will do to the price? We have a 12-year cycle where we've burned 14 million. And that's while it was creeping up to its usage. And now it's taking off, it's surging exponentially. And so to slow that burn rate, the price has to keep up. Now, all these price manipulations that we see, these are the opportunities for those of you who have not yet bought XRP to buy it. Because another video that I did, that I mentioned earlier, get it while it's hot, or you just might not. And so this exponential growth that is occurring in the network will soon translate to the price. Absolutely. And to close out, here's another article. Here's what XRP could be worth if XRP handles 25% of global financial transactions. This article is from 2 days ago. And for the sake of time, we're not going to read this article, but what we are going to do is find what price did he say it could be. It says XRP price if it handles 25% of global transactions. ChatGPT is the one who apparently did the calculations. It says since the current price reflects a daily volume of roughly $2.7 billion, scaling that up to $2.5 trillion would put the XRP price at $1,972.50. In other words, it would put the XRP price at that 1,000 times that I mentioned earlier. That's all I'm going to talk about today, folks. This is DK Will, and DK will talk about it. Maybe later today I'll do another video. I don't know. But I had to talk about this because, like David Schwartz said, it can't be dirt cheap. And it's just a simple matter of math. If that 0.0001, whatever it is only about 0.002 cents now, and the cost of the transaction stays at 0.002 cents, and the price goes up, well, then you get more uses out of one XRP than you do today. 10 times, you get 10 times as many uses. 100 times, you get 100 times as many uses. 1,000 times, you get 1,000 times as many uses. And to sustain the ecosystem of the XRP ledger, where XRP tokens are involved, that's just going to have to happen. And there was something else I saw before I go. Bear with me. They got the math here too. The links will be in the description for every article that I look at. But I saw something that caught my eye earlier while I was talking. This one right here. I see this descending channel here, right here. And that's usually a bullish signal. I also see a cross beginning to occur. I'm not sure which EMA this is, but it looks like it's about to be a golden cross. I'm not sure. I'd have to dig deeper. But I noticed that while I was talking. And now I'm going to stop talking because I've said enough. This is DK. We'll talk about it. And I've talked about it. Have a wonderful Sunday.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right.